Welcome back to Do Not Rescue. We're nearing the end of our unit on the survival pack. Today we're talking about layers and hygiene. This is the last important category in this unit. First up, let's talk about layers. There are a lot of different layers you could have, and there are a lot of different ways of thinking about it, so for this video I'm just going to show you how I like to think about it. First and foremost, let's talk about the shell layer. This is going to be the outermost layer, and in my opinion, one of the most important layers. This is what keeps you dry. This is the waterproof stuff. For this, I recommend a rain jacket, rain pants, and waterproof gloves. Next, let's talk about the mid layer. This is going to be what's keeping you the most warm. I recommend having a somewhat heavyweight fleece sweater, as well as fleece pants. Now, I do want to point this out. Just because you have them doesn't mean you should be using them all the time. Being too hot can be just as dangerous, if not more dangerous, than being too cold. Another thing you might need is a warm hat and/or a balaclava. These are going to help keep your head warm. You lose a lot more heat through your head than you might think, so these are very important. Another part of the mid layer, which I like to mention, is the puffball jacket. But there are a couple things that you need to keep in mind with this. First, just like the fleece stuff, that can make you too hot, so always keep that in mind. Also, whenever you're wearing the puff jacket, always make sure you have the shell jacket over it. For one, the puffy jacket isn't quite waterproof, and two, if you were to, say, get caught on a branch or something, it could easily rip. So always make sure you have the shell jacket over it. And finally, socks. These are extremely important. These are the unsung hero of any survival pack. And you are going to need a lot more socks than you might think. I always say, think about how many you might need and then triple it. Alright, enough about that. Now let's talk about hygiene. I always recommend to have at least a basic supply of hygiene materials in your survival pack. If you're in a wilderness situation, you'll have them in the first place. And if you're in a shelter-in-place situation, you might run out and you will be unable to buy more. First and foremost, pretty obvious, you're going to need a toothbrush and toothpaste. I also recommend to have some wet wipes available. Also, if you are someone who has a period, it is very important to have a pretty good supply of tampons, pads, menstrual cups, whatever you prefer. The last thing that I need to mention is to have what I like to call brown bag. This is especially important for wilderness. This is the bag that you put all of your used hygiene materials into. So used wet wipes, used tampons, pads, period products, all of that goes into the brown bag. Remember, we're trying to keep ourselves safe, but we also want to keep the environment and all of the animals in the environment safe as well. You guys are going to be happy about this. This lesson doesn't have an assignment. Thanks for watching. Have a nice day. Bye-bye.